The fork clatters from my hand, a sharp, metallic sound against the silence he's just created. It spins on the polished wood of the dining table, a tiny, frantic ballet, before settling. My own world is still spinning. I stare at him, Mark, my husband of 2 decades, the father of my children. His face is impassive, a carefully constructed mask I'm only now realizing I've never truly seen behind. "I want a divorce," he'd said, the words as casual as if he were announcing he was going for a walk. But they land like stones, each one bruising something vital inside me. The aroma of the roast chicken, usually a comfort, now smells like ashes. My chest is tight, so tight, I can't seem to draw a full breath. He's looking at me, waiting. For what? Tears? A scene? I offer him nothing but the slow, dawning horror in my eyes. The grandfather clock in the hall ticks, each second a hammer blow against the life I thought we were building. If you've ever felt the ground simply vanish from beneath your feet, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story, this moment, pulls you in, please subscribe. It helps me share these pieces of a shattered life, and maybe, just maybe, piece them back together. It wasn't always like this. Or maybe it was, and I was just too blind, too busy loving the idea of us to see the cracks forming. We had the house, the 2 kids, Lily and Tom, their laughter echoing in these rooms that now feel too big, too empty. We had Sunday mornings with pancakes, family vacations where the car rides were too long, but the memories sweet. I thought we were a team, weathering the small storms, celebrating the small victories. All I ever truly wanted was that, a haven, a partnership. Not this cold stranger sitting across from me, dismantling our entire history with a few, well-chosen, brutal words. His uncle, Theodore, had been sick for a while. A good man, Theodore. Always kind to me, doted on the kids. Mark had become increasingly preoccupied with his uncle's health. More trips to visit, more hushed phone calls. I'd thought it was concern. Now a colder, uglier suspicion begins to uncoil in my gut. The official papers arrive a week later, delivered by a courier, as impersonal as a pizza. He slides them across the kitchen island, that same island where we've planned birthdays and helped with homework. "It's straightforward," Mark says, his voice flat, devoid of the melody I once found so captivating. "No real assets to split, not much anyway. We keep what's ours. It'll be quick." His eyes avoid mine. Quick. Like ripping off a bandage, leaving the wound to fester. Sleep becomes a forgotten country. Every creak of the floorboards, every shadow in the hallway, seems to whisper his betrayal. I move through my days in a fog, the kids my only anchor. How do I tell them their father is not just leaving me, but leaving us? His insistence on quick and no real assets rattles in my mind. We built this life together. My contribution was just as real as his paycheck, nurturing our children, managing our home, supporting his career. But in his narrative, I am suddenly nothing. His lawyer starts calling, polite but firm, pressing me to sign. "Mr. Harrison wishes to resolve this amicably and swiftly." The voice on the other end says, smooth as oil. Amicably. As if this is a friendly parting of ways. Mark himself is a ghost in the house, moving around me, through me, already halfway out the door. He's almost cheerful. A lightness about him I haven't seen in years. It chills me. He's not just leaving, he's escaping. But from what? Or to what? Then the letter. Not for me. Addressed to Mark, in the distinctive script of Uncle Theodore's estate lawyers. It's been misdelivered to my stack of mail. My hands tremble as I pick it up. I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't. But a force stronger than propriety compels me. I slide my finger under the flap. Words leap out. Substantial bequest, finalizing probate, disbursement imminent, and then the date of Uncle Theodore's passing. Just 3 days after Mark asked for the divorce. 3 days. The timing isn't a coincidence. It's a meticulously planned demolition. My blood runs cold, then boils with a white-hot fury I never knew I possessed.
He's not just divorcing me.
He's trying to cut me out, to sever my life from his just before a windfall he knew was coming. He thinks he's so clever. He becomes more brazen. He mentions needing to start fresh, that he'll be comfortable soon. His lawyer starts hinting that if I don't sign, they'll make things difficult. Imply I'm a gold digger, out for something I'm not entitled to. The irony is a bitter pill. I feel small, cornered. The legal advice I get is grim. An inheritance received after the divorce is finalized is usually considered separate property. He's got the timing down perfectly. He smirks in our one disastrous mediation session, a look of smug triumph. All seems lost. He's going to walk away with everything, leaving me with the ruins of our life and the struggle to rebuild. But then a memory surfaces. Uncle Theodore, years ago, sitting in our garden, watching Lily and Tom chase butterflies. He'd turned to me, his eyes kind. "Family is everything, Sarah," he'd said, his voice gentle. "Especially the little ones. They are the true legacy." His words echo now, a lifeline in the darkness. Could he have? It's a faint hope, a desperate flicker. But it's enough. I make a call, not to the divorce lawyer who offers me sympathetic platitudes, but to an estate specialist, someone whose name I found after hours of frantic research. Someone who sounds like she eats nails for breakfast. Her name is Ms. Albright, and she doesn't waste time. She listens, her silence more potent than any words. "Let me look into Uncle Theodore's full probate records," she says finally, her voice crisp. "Something about your husband's confidence feels overplayed." The days stretch into an eternity. Mark is pushing harder now, a new urgency in his demands to finalize. He's practically bouncing off the walls with ill-concealed anticipation. He thinks he's on the verge of his great escape, his rich new life, unencumbered by me or, it seems, any real sense of responsibility. He's already pricing new sports cars online. I see the websites open on his laptop. Then, Ms. Albright calls. I brace myself for more bad news, for the final nail in the coffin of my hopes. "Sarah," she says, and there's a strange note in her voice. A kind of quiet satisfaction. "I have Uncle Theodore's final, probated will, and all associated trust documents." She pauses. It's quite illuminating. My heart hammers. And she continues, "It appears Uncle Theodore was a very insightful man. He loved your children a great deal." "What do you mean?" I whisper, hardly daring to breathe. The bulk of his estate, the truly substantial portion, was placed into irrevocable trusts for Lily and Tom Harrison. Years ago, Sarah. Years before his health seriously declined. These trusts are airtight. Your husband is a minor beneficiary of a separate, much smaller fund. But the lion's share? It belongs to your children. Exclusively. It was never going to be marital property for you to divide, because it was never going to be his to control in the first place, beyond his small, stipulated portion. I sink into a chair, the phone pressed hard against my ear. Irrevocable. For the children. Years ago. Mark's entire scheme, his cruel, calculated timing, it's all based on a monumental misapprehension, or perhaps a deliberate ignorance of the facts he chose to forget in his greed. He's trying to cheat me out of something he largely doesn't even have access to himself. He's burning down our life for a phantom treasure. A wave of something cold and incredibly clear washes over me. Not triumph, not yet. Just a stark, piercing clarity. The final court date arrives. It's a sterile room, all polished wood and hushed tones. Mark is there, practically vibrating with eagerness. He gives me a cursory nod, his eyes already on the prize he imagines waits just beyond the judge's signature. He's wearing a new suit. He looks like a vulture anticipating a feast. My lawyer, Ms. Albright, stands. She's calm, a portfolio of documents in her hand. "Your Honor," she begins, her voice cutting through the quiet room, "before we proceed with the dissolution as outlined, we have new information pertaining to Mr. Harrison's actual and expected financial status. Or rather," she pauses, letting the words hang, "the true, pre-existing beneficiaries of the late Theodore Harrison's estate." She lays out the trust documents. Clearly. Precisely. I watch Mark's face. The confident smirk he's worn for months wavers. It slides. Then it shatters. His eyes dart from the documents to Ms. Albright, to the judge, then finally to me. His skin goes a ghastly shade of pale. His lawyer, a slick, expensive man, is shuffling papers, his own composure cracking. The judge reads through the summaries, his expression unreadable. Then he looks at Mark. A long, considering look. "So, Mr. Harrison," the judge says, his voice dangerously mild. "It appears your anticipated financial circumstances are significantly different from what you may have led yourself, and perhaps others, to believe." The silence in the room is absolute, broken only by Mark's ragged breathing.
He looks at me.
Not with anger, not with hatred, but with a dawning, sickening horror. He didn't just fail to cut me out of a fortune he never really possessed. He exposed his greed, his deceit, his utter lack of character, for absolutely nothing. The money, the real money, was never his to hide, never his to leverage. It was protected all along, by a good man's foresight, for our children. The ink dries on the divorce decree a few weeks later. It's not the fiery victory I sometimes fantasized about during sleepless nights. It's quieter than that. A deep, steadying peace settles in my soul. He got his divorce. He also got a front-row seat to the implosion of his own avarice. Our children are secure, their futures safeguarded not by a bitter fight I had to wage against him, but by the quiet wisdom of their great-uncle, a man who saw Mark for who he truly was, long before I allowed myself to. I look at Lily and Tom, watch them laughing in the backyard, their innocence untouched by the darkness that almost consumed us. And for the first time in what feels like a lifetime, I breathe. Really, truly breathe. The air is clean. Some storms, it turns out, don't just destroy. They clear the path for something new, something truer. If this story found a chord in you, I'd be honored if you subscribed. It helps these stories find their way. And tell me, where are you listening from, and what time is it there? I find comfort in knowing where these echoes land.